Mr. Lucetto, you attended the August of 2022 CSRO.
Correct.
And at that time, did you provide a pay stub to our office to calculate your gross monthly resources?
Yes, ma'am.
And do you recall what that amount was?
I don't recall.
And do you have that pay stub to provide to us again today?
I don't have it on me.
Your wages for the year of 2022 based off of your tax documents and what's reported by your employer. You have an average gross for the year of 2022 of $2,796.53. Is that right?
Can you repeat that?
$2,796.53 was your average monthly gross for the year of 2022.
I believe so.
You have health and dental insurance available through your employer.
Correct.
And the cost for just the children for your health insurance is $239.70.
I believe so. That's what the estimate that I got.
And the cost for dental for just the children would be $12.07.
Right.
And you're in agreement to paying those health or enrolling the children on health and dental available through your employer?
Yes, ma'am.
And as far as the judgments and the non-disclosure finding, you're not objecting to any of those terms, is that right?
As far as the medical, no, ma'am.
And we have your wages for 2022. Have your wages from the time of the CSRO changed at any time between then and now?
Judge, I'm going to object to the relevance of that question. The pleading before the court is a petition for confirmation of non-agreed child support review order, whether the court should confirm or not confirm that child support as of the date of September 1st, 2022, Judge. I don't think it's relevant to ask what the child support is now. There's no request for a modification and to change the dates or to change the amounts. They're just asking the court to confirm it, Judge.
Ms. Spray, what's your response?
Judge, this is a proposed non-agreed child support review order. The hearing was requested by Mr. Lemke contesting the modification amount. So it is relevant to hear actual current gross monthly income, not only from the time of the CSRP as well as now, because that could have a factor in what the court orders here today, as there also was a step up has occurred as a result of the emancipation of another child.
I'll overrule. Go ahead.
Mr. Lucero, have your wages changed substantially or at all, really, from the time of the CSRP in August until now?
Just very little.
Okay. How much are you currently making?
As far as monthly or
Are you salary?
Yes, I'm salary.
Okay, so how much are you getting paid?
Getting
Judge, I'm
paid.
still going to object to the relevance of the question of how much is getting paid today. The Attorney General is asking to confirm the order as a child support to start on September 1st, 2022.
I'll note your objection. I'm still going to overrule. Go ahead.
Mr. Lucero, you can answer.
Well, I'm making maybe $100 more than what I was making back in the August, I believe, the last time we met.
So you're saying only $100 more than the just shy of $2,800?
Right.
Okay. Do you have any other children who are currently under the age of 18?
No.
But at the time of the CSRP, you did, is that right?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
And that child turned 18 and then graduated in June of this year?
Correct. I believe so. Yes, in June. He turned 18 in March, and I believe he graduated in June.
Yes, witness.
Mr. Lemke.
Thank you, Your Honor. Sir, you provided to me that I provided to the Attorney General your 1099 and tax return and your W-2, is that correct?
Correct.
Judge, at this time, I would like to, if I can screen share and exhibit his 2022 W-2 and offer that into evidence.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you, Honor. Okay, sir, I'm showing you what I sent to the court and the Office of the Attorney General, your W-2 from 2022. Is that your W-2 is that the full amount you made from Health and Human Services Commission?
Yes, sir.
And that's been your employer's from what year?
My employer from when I started,
Yes, when did you start?
I started 2016.
Judge, this time I'll offer R2 into evidence is W-2.
Any objection?
Objection. No objection from the state.
Okay, Ms. Guzman, did you have an objection?
Yes, I do.
What's your legal objection for this document?
He's trying to go off of an old W-2 form, not his current wages.
Okay, but do you have an objection with this document being admitted into evidence?
No, that's fine.
Okay, respondents 1 or R2, go ahead and admit it.
Thank you, Honor. And Judge, this time I'm going to show the court R1. Sarah, is this your 2022 tax return?
Yes, sir.
And your total income from your tax return is $30,500. Is that correct?
Correct.
At this time, I'll offer R1 into evidence this complete tax return from 2022.
Ms. Sprague?
No objection.
And Ms. Guzman, do you have an objection with this document being admitted into evidence?
No.
Okay, R1 admitted.
And Sarah, the gross amount that they found for you was $3,354.32. Is that correct at the child support review hearing? Is that correct? That's the amount that they found. Sir?
Correct. Yes, yes.
Okay. Is that amount in error? That's not the amount that your monthly gross was in 2022. Is that correct?
Right.
And sir, you're asking for the amount to be based on your gross pay of $30,500
Correct.
per year, which equals a gross of $2,541.66.
Yes, sir.
And sir, you're not challenging the child support in the prior order. In the divorce period, child support was set at 0. Is that correct?
Correct.
And that was per agreement of you and your ex-wife.
Yes, sir.
Okay, you're not opposed. You're not challenging the child support being increased beginning September 1st, 2022. You're just asking it to be based on what the proper pay was for 2022. Is that correct?
Correct.
In regards to your child, you're asking for the child support to be based on September 1st, 2022, giving you credit for your other child. That's not before the court. Is that correct?
Correct. Yes, sir.
What's your other child's name?
Matthew Gloria.
Okay, and what's his date of birth?
I believe it's March 7 of 05.
And he turned 18 in March of 2023.
Correct.
And you're under support order for him. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And he graduated from Odessa High School in Odessa, Texas in June of 2023.
Correct.
Okay. So you're asking the child support review order to have your child support calculated for your 3 children before the court at 27.38%. Is that correct?
Correct.
And you have no problem providing the health insurance and dental insurance as set forth in the court's order. Is that correct?
No, that's correct.
Okay. And you agree at the time that the child support arrears were 0 as of 31st day of July 2022, correct?
Correct.
Okay, and you agree on as of July 31st, 2022, that the medical support judgment arrears was $568.91. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. You're just asking, all you're doing is just asking the court to confirm the to order that the child support be set at the proper amount as of September 1st, 2022, last year. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yes, sir.
Judge, I got nothing further. I respectfully pass the witness.
Thank you. Ms. Guzman, do you have any questions of Mr. Lucetto?
No.
Ms. Sprague?
Thank you, Judge. I do have some follow-up questions. I was able to locate a document, if I may share screen.
Yes, ma'am.
I am now sharing what will be marked as State's Exhibit A for identification. Mr. Lucetto, do you recognize this document?
Yes,
And is this the pay stub that you would have provided us in August with your pay date ending in July of 2022?
correct. Yes.
Judge, I would object, Your Honor. I'm not sure if that was the one that was provided or not in the review hearing.
I believe his client just testified that it was.
Overruled. Go ahead.
Does this appear, to the best of your knowledge, in the same manner that you receive the pay checks or pay notifications from your employer, Mr. Lucero?
I'm sorry?
Does this pay stub or paycheck appear in the same manner that they typically appear when you receive them?
Yes. I'm sorry.
Has
it's
it
'cause
been altered in any way?
I can't see. That's why I'm sorry. I didn't bring
Has
my
it been
data.
altered? Has it been altered in any way to the best of your knowledge?
Yes.
It has been altered?
I'm sorry. No. I'm sorry. No.
Okay. State would ask that State's Exhibit A for identification be admitted as State's A.
Mr. Lemke?
Judge, could I respectfully just ask her to scroll down for I can see that I didn't see the whole pay stub?
Yeah.
Judge, I have no objection.
Okay, Ms. Guzman, do you have an objection?
No.
States one admitted. Thank you.
And Mr. Lucetto, I can try and make it just a little bit bigger for you here. Under here, it says your year to date is $23,222.20. Is that right?
Well, that's what it states. Yes.
And this is your pay stub that ended, the pay date ended July 31st, 2022?
Right. That's what it states. Yes.
So if we take that number, are you paid monthly? Or
Yes,
twice a month?
Bi-weekly.
So at the end of July, you would have grossed $23,222.20 for 7 months.
Right.
Is that okay? Pass witness.
Mr. Lemke?
And sir, your pay for 2021 total was 26,843.
Right.
Okay, sorry. The pay that you have on there, your pay didn't change in 2022. You worked this. Did you work the same amount of hours in 2022?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Why is your gross pay showing more, but then your pay for the year shows less?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure, to be honest.
Okay, but you didn't work any extra hours or anything else like that?
No.
Okay, but you worked and all your checks for the year. You made gross 1,255. Is that correct?
Right.
And how much are you paid once a month or twice a month?
Bi-weekly.
Okay, sir. So the 1,255, 560.58 based on your check, that equals your gross was on your year to date from your taxes and your W-2. Is that correct?
Right.
Okay. And even and you got a raise in 2022 because you were making 26,000. You made 26,843 gross in 2021, correct?
Right.
And then you made the $30,000 on your tax return, 30,500 in 2022. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. So you're being honest with the court of those amounts. That's how much
Yeah.
you got the increase
Right.
in 2022. That
Right.
amount,
Yes.
correct?
Yes.
You're asking the court to set the child support based on your your proper pay for 2022, starting September 1st for child support. Is that correct?
Correct, yes, sir.
I got nothing further, Judge, if that's a witness.
Ms. Guzman, do you have any questions?
No, ma'am.
Ms. Sprague?
State calls Anna.
Ms. Lotta, please raise your right hand. You swear or affirm the testimony you have in this court will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Thank you.
Ms. Lotta, can you please state your full name and where you work?
Ana Lara, and I work for the Texas Attorney General's office.
What do your job duties entail at the Office of the Attorney General?
I'm a child support officer. I attend court, prepare court orders, find, locate for non-custodial parents, their wages or employers.
Are you familiar with the case involving Eric Lucetto?
Yes, ma'am.
And have you been able to review his wages?
Yes.
And we've had extensive other testimony as to older wages, but do you have any information to provide us concerning his wages for 2023?
Yes.
And in the most recent quarter, how much has he made on average per month?
His employer has reported the most current quarter
Judge, I'm
as the
rejecting hearsay. I'm
second.
rejecting hearsay, Your Honor.
Ms. Sprague?
Judge, this is information, information acted upon as far as pursuing the modification, as well as regularly recorded information. And Ms. Lotta is presenting the information in her duties as a child support officer.
Your Honor, I still object to hearsay. She's testifying what somebody told her.
Overruled. Go ahead.
The second quarter of 2023 is the most current quarter that his employer reported in the amount of $11,766.41.
So that comes out to
Judge, I'm rejecting
$3,922.
leading.
So hold on, sustain.
So Ms. Lotta, what does that come out to on average for that quarter's monthly gross amount?
It would be $3,922.14.
And what was his what were his quarter wages for the first quarter of 2023?
$8,006.69.
Past witness.
Mr. Lemke?
Good morning, ma'am. I'm Jason Lemke. I represent Eric Lucetto. I'm going to ask you a few questions, okay?
Yes.
Ma'am, did you look at his 2001 tax return at the review hearing?
No, sir.
Okay, why not?
I am looking at his current wages reported by his employer.
Okay, and ma'am, did you find out how much his total pay, how much he makes per week?
I can divide it per week if you want.
Ma'am, I'm asking you a question. Did you look how much he makes per week gross?
No, sir. I have the gross monthly income.
Okay, ma'am, and did you request his 2022 W-2?
No, sir. I did not request that.
You were asked questions you were just asked questions about his 2023 pay, but you never looked to see how much he made in 2022 total?
I have here his 22 quarter wages, and I can give them to you if you like.
Ma'am, how much did he make in total in 2022?
Let me add those wages. Give me just a moment. For 2022, I got a total of $33,558.34.
Is that before is that Social Security wages or non-Social Security wages?
That is just his gross income reported by his employer.
And ma'am, isn't it true on his paychecks, it says that his gross per paycheck is $1,255.56, correct?
I would need to pull up his check stubs. Give me just a moment.
Okay. No problem.
Are you, Mr. Lemke, are you referring to the one that's been admitted into evidence? Because I can share screen to help
Yes.
expedite.
Yes, that would help out.
But it has been.
Okay, ma'am, on that his gross is wrong on that check compared to his other checks. Is that correct?
I wouldn't know if it's wrong or not. I can tell you based on what his employer reported, gross earnings is coming at $1,195.55.
Okay, and he's paid 26 times a year, correct?
Yes,
Bi-weekly?
yes.
Going
Okay.
forward.
So his gross pay is 31,084.30 cents, correct?
Based on this paycheck,
They said 250, but we had our notes to 75.
it would be $31,084.30.
Okay. And that's approximately what his W-2 is showing for the year. Is that correct?
I don't have his W-2.
Okay. Ma'am, you just testified on how much he made total for 2022. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. Would you like me to show you a copy of his W-2?
If you like.
And Judge, I'm going to object to relevance here. I believe the W-2, the pay stubs, the 1040 are all, have all been entered into evidence. Ms. Lotta did not testify as to the amounts that were on the W-2s, only the information available to her as a child support officer.
Mr. Limke, what's the relevance of,
Judge, it's showing that the total gross amount at that time was a wrong amount. If you look at the gross, how much he made per week and all his paychecks, I don't know why it says that gross total that amount, but the other pay stubs don't show that amount. That's why I'm trying to ask you about the pay stubs and the gross amounts.
I'll allow it. Go ahead.
Ma'am, I'm going to show you a W-2. Judge, if I could respectfully screen share.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Okay, ma'am, I'm showing you his W-2 for 2022. You see that on here?
Yes,
Okay. It said his social security wages is $33,558.34, correct?
correct.
On his pay stubs, how many pay stubs did you look at it that day?
I did not look at the pay stubs. I have the quarters reported by his employer.
Ma'am, there are questions that the Attorney General, Assistant Attorney General asked my client whether he provided a pay stub. So you didn't look at his pay stub as of his pay stub that was provided as of August 2023?
I did not look at his pay stub, as I did not do the CSRP. What I have in front of me right now are the wages reported by his employer.
Okay, ma'am, so you weren't, well, I thought you did the child support review. You didn't do the child support review?
No, sir.
Okay, so you don't know what happened at the review hearing. So who actually did the child support review that day?
It would be another child support officer.
But is that child support officer here today?
Not here today.
So you don't know what happened at that time and what they relied on. Is that correct?
That would be correct.
If you looked at that pay stub, if you looked at old pay stubs and that's the same amount gross that he got per paycheck, would you say that that's an error of how much his gross was as of August 1st, 2022?
I would not be able to
Judge, I
say.
don't think that she's a appropriate witness to ask that question. There's so many things involved at the time of making calculations, and Ms. Lotta can only testify as to what she has reviewed and what is before the court right now.
Overruled. I'll allow it.
Ma'am, if you could answer.
I would not be able to say if there's an error or not.
Ma'am, you didn't look at any of his pay. Did you look at his pay stubs in 2022 before you testified today?
No, sir.
Okay, so he works for the state of Texas, isn't that correct?
Correct.
So whatever they put down in his W-2 and his gross pay, that's how much he makes gross. Is that correct?
That would be correct.
Okay, so if every month he made the same amount of money gross, that's how they calculate his yearly of what he made. Is that correct?
Well, I have different amounts, so it looks like his wages have fluctuated per quarter.
Ma'am, but based on all his pay, he did make a little bit more in 2022. Isn't that correct? That's why it was 33,000 instead of 32,000, correct?
Right.
Okay, so that's all included on there, but basically his gross pay at that time was at 1,255, correct? Almost every month, every
In
paycheck.
per that paycheck, yes.
Okay, and all his paychecks before and thereafter, correct?
I didn't see the rest of the
Okay.
paychecks, just the one that you that was shown right now.
Don't you believe you should have to look at all the paychecks, all the pay stubs if there's a problem with the amount?
Well, what I have in front of me right now, sir, is the wages reported by his employer per quarter starting in 2020.
I got nothing further, Judge. Respectfully pass the witness.
Ms. Guzman, do you have any questions?
No.
Ms. Sprague?
No follow-up, Judge. May she be released?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Ms. Lara. You're free to
You're
go.
welcome.
Any other witnesses, Ms. Sprague?
State calls Xochitl Guzman.
Go ahead.
Ms. Guzman, you attended the Child Support Review Conference in August of 2022,
Yes, ma'am.
and you are, you agreed to all of the terms at the time of that Child Support Review Conference. Is that right?
That is correct.
Are you asking that all of those terms from the Child Support Review Order be affirmed today and be made the final order of the court?
That is correct.
You're asking the court not to change it or modify it in any way.
No.
Is there anything else you want to make sure the judge is aware of here today?
I just want to make sure that the credit he's asking for doesn't go into this case because his son is already 18 years. And that we're going by his current pay, not back in when it was filed.
So at the time we did the CSRO in August, he was given credit for that other child. So you are asking that a modification be made to revise it when that obligation.
Judge, I'm object to leading on that.
Sustained.
Still an adverse witness, Judge. Ms. Guzman, are you asking the court to make any sort of changes in the credits Mr. Lucetto may be entitled to?
Yes, that is correct.
And you're asking the court simply to just order what's child support guidelines?
Yes, ma'am.
Pass witness.
Mr. Lemke?
Thank you, Judge. Good morning, ma'am. You testified that you want the order confirmed that you signed off on, yes or no?
The order that we agreed for the 709, yes.
Okay. And ma'am, you would agree at that time his son was 17 and he was just about to start his senior year and he was still in high school. Is that correct?
Yeah, he was still
Yes.
under 17.
So the amount the percentage that they gave him at that time for his other child for your 3 children at 27.38% is correct because that child was going into the senior year at that time in August 2023, correct?
That's all I'm asking is for the 709.
Objection non-responsive?
nothing more.
Hold on a second. Sustained. Go ahead.
Okay, ma'am. The child was in August of 2023, 2022. The child was about to start his senior year of high school and the child was still 17 years old. Is that correct?
I'm sorry, when was he 17?
Okay, ma'am, the order that you signed, that you would want to be confirmed from August 6th of 2022, at that time, the child support starting on September 1st, 2022, was giving credit for his other son that was still 17 years old and a senior in Odessa High School. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, and at that time, you agreed that the child support should be set at 27.38%, given credit for the three for the other child, and when they calculated the child support for your 3 kids. Is that correct?
I never agreed on any, and they never mentioned anything like that to me, so I never agreed on anything.
Okay, ma'am, you're asking for it to be confirmed that you would agree to this. Is that correct? You agreed to this order. Is that correct?
To the 709, yes.
And what's your full name, ma'am?
Xochitl Guzman.
Okay, I'm going to show you this page here. That's your signature on here.
I can't even see it.
Okay. Can you see it on the camera here?
No, I can't.
Okay.
I cannot see it. It's way too small.
So did you sign off on did you electrically signed off on an order on that day on August 9th, 2022? Yes or no?
I can't say yes or no because I can't see the document.
At this time, Judge, I would ask the court to take judicial notice of the witness's signature on the order attached to the petition.
This court has taken judicial notice of the proposed order that was submitted on the petition for confirmation of the non-agreed child support review order. And to note, there is a signature of Ms. Sprague and Ms. Lucetto. well, she signed it Xochitl Lucetto, but the name is Xochitl Guzman.
Thank you, Your Honor. And ma'am, your signature is on there, so you signed off and you agreed to that. You agreed to that percentage for child support for his other son, yes or no?
Like I said, I don't remember signing that document, but if it's there, it's there.
I got nothing further, Judge. I pass the witness.
Ms. Sprague?
Okay, rest and close.
Mr. Limke, do you have any other witnesses?
No, Your Honor, we rest.
Okay. Ms. Sprague, go ahead.
Your Honor, the state's requesting that the court first and foremost confirm those items which were not contested by the parties here today that were contained within the non-agreed child support review order. And there were a lot of numbers thrown out. I don't believe that there is really any contest that for the entire year of 2022, Mr. Lucetto's wages were the $2,796.53. Based on his pay stub, a snapshot until July of 2022, his wages did reflect $3,317.46. If we take that amount and simply divide it by 7 months that had occurred, in order to get to that lower monthly average of $27.96, Mr. Lucetto, there's no contest that he made that amount over the course of 2022, but as Ms. Lotta had testified, there were fluctuations within the quarters. The state would recommend that the court make the orders pursuant to the pay stub, and at the time of the CSRO, there was a slight miscalculation, and the child support obligation should have been $704 beginning on September 1st, 2022. And that does give Mr. Lucetto credit for the other child that was unemancipated at that time. That other child has since emancipated, and in order to avoid another modification based on a material substantial change of circumstances immediately, the state would also recommend that the court entertain setting another child support obligation for Mr. Lucetto beginning on July 1st, 2023, the month after the child graduated high school and fully emancipated. If using Ms. Lotta's wages as reported, the most recent wages, which were a significant increase from what he has been earning over the past several quarters, his child support obligation would be $917. If looking at wages for all of 2023, so more of a 6-month basis based on Ms. Lotta's testimony, the child support obligation would be $837, and that would be the state's recommendation. And that the state, or then of course that the court confirm all other matters of the child support review order as submitted.
Mr. Limke.
Judge, we would respectfully ask the court to change the child support order and set the child support for September 1st, 2022, based on his pay for 2022 at $33,558.34, and set that at the gross for the year. And the gross was wrong, that was calculated at the child support review hearing, and set the gross at the proper amount of $2,796.52, and give my client credit for child support at percentage at 27.38% based on the Texas Family Code, Your Honor. And we would ask the court not to set the child support on what Ms. Lauder testified. There were no documentation provided. They didn't provide any documentation. All was a testimony. We have no documentation. No documentation of his pay stubs from 2023, no quarterly report. So we have nothing to rely on except for testimony. They could have provided the pay stubs. They could have provided the quarterly reports. They didn't do that for 2023. And then to have it in an order, they're asking for the child support order to be confirmed or not confirmed as child support September 1st, 2022, Judge. So we're asking the court to set the child support for September 1st, 2022, based on the tax return and W-2 that we provided, and not confirm it at the original amount, and not increase it without any documentations, without any testimony, from any witnesses from the employer of how much he actually makes. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr. Limke. Ms. Guzman?
I agree with Jessica. as far as everything that she said, it should go by his current pay stubs, not what he was earning back then.
And Ms. Sprague, last word.
Nothing further, Judge.
Okay, based on the testimony and evidence before this court, I will confirm the petition with the proposed order as attached. There will be no changes or amendments. Okay, that will conclude the hearing. Entry for the order will be this Friday unless you can get it to me by today.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you, everyone. That concludes the
Thank you,
hearing.
Judge. Maybe excuse, thank you.
He's never had a problem with employment before, and now all of a sudden he can't find a job.
This remark about me intentionally quitting my job is some nefarious statement that I wouldn't do because it jeopardizes Shannon and I's son's well-being.
My client has watched Mr. Reyes make more and more and more income since the last review in 2014.